What is the scariest thing your spouse ever said to you? Before we start with the first story, please hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell to stay updated with us. Number 20. I'm tired and want to go home. He died 6 hours later after fighting cancer for 6 weeks. Reply. I want to die at home. She died 8 weeks later after battling cancer for 5 weeks. Cancer? I'm sorry you both had to go through it too. Edit. Wrote in haste, sorry. To clarify, she had a few weeks at home but died 8 weeks after the diagnosis. Number 19. I thought about hanging myself in the garage last night, my husband, when he finally told me how bad he was struggling with his mental health. I had no idea he was in such a dark place. Hearing that come out of his mouth both scared the shit out of me and ripped my heart out. Number 18. Look at all those snakes on the ceiling. It was the middle of the night. He was actually fast asleep. There were no snakes. Number 17. One time I got out of bed to use the bathroom, and as I crossed in front of the bed, my wife sat up and started screaming like nothing I've ever heard. I had an injury that has had me sleeping with extra pillows to position my body comfortably since I was early 20s. The pillows made it look in the dark like I was still asleep next to her. So when she saw me crossing in front of the bed, she thought someone had broken in and was in our room. Number 16. I can't get E to wake up. E was our 9-month-old daughter who was near death due to severe flu-related dehydration. I was at work and broke every existing traffic law to make it home. We rushed her to the hospital where they had to place her IV in her carotid artery due to her veins collapsing. Thanks to the amazing hospital staff, she survived with no complications. The episode scared me so bad that I was never again able to carpool without me driving. I would not give up control of me being able to leave work if anything similar ever happened. This happened 31 years ago, but it's absolutely terrifying to this day. Number 15. If this is what being with you for the rest of my life is going to be like, I want out right now. 6 months into my second marriage, I finally heard it. That I was damaged and that I needed help. Immediately found a therapist. Went steadily for 10 years. Hard as f***. Lots of uncomfortable times. But it changed me. We are together now pretty freaking happily, 23 years with now 2 amazing kids. Doesn't have to last forever. Number 14. I was in the other room playing a game on the computer when my wife yelled, "He's choking." She was watching our then 8-month-old son. I am a big guy, 6'1", 280 lbs. I have never moved so fast in my life. I don't even remember running to the living room, just that I was playing my game one moment. Next, I was on the couch with his stomach down on my knee, performing the Heimlich. Heimlich didn't work at first, but I could see something in his mouth/throat. I was able to reach in and grab it. It was a tiny leaf that got brought in on, I guess, one of our shoes from outside. After that, he took a big breath in and started crying. I have never been more scared in my life. We both just held him after that and calmed him down. He turned 1 this past Wednesday and is healthy as ever. Edit. I'm 6 feet 1 inch tall, 280 pounds, for clarification. I don't think I'd be able to move at all if I was almost 1,300 pounds, haha. Number 13. My spouse wanted to go to a bar with friends. However, he was only gone for about 30 minutes and rushed back home. He rushed through the door, hugged me and said, "I thought you'd hang yourself." It was totally out of the blue. I don't have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts. I was feeling a little down a few days before, but nothing too serious. It really scared me when he suddenly talked about my death. Number 12. It wasn't what she said. It was what she did while saying it. She kept staring at the fire alarm while we were talking and giggling. I was trying to talk to her about her increasingly erratic and paranoid behavior, but she denied it. When I asked her why she was staring at the fire alarm, she said no reason. While holding back laughter, I saw her wave at it and sometimes talk to it. She eventually told me she knew I was working with the FBI, and they had put cameras in the fire alarm. A few sleepless days later, she was being physically wrestled into an ambulance by paramedics so they could sedate her. She's had a similar psychotic episode every couple of years, usually lasting a few months, since, and refused all medication and treatment she could. Number 11. It was a Saturday morning, about a month ago, and he came downstairs and asked if I had just been upstairs to wake him. No. He proceeds to tell me someone shook me and said, "Get up. You only have 6 more years to live." He was shaken by the experience all weekend, and now says it's nothing to worry about. I, on the other hand, can't let it go. Number 10. My husband sent me a garbled text from work when he worked at a movie theater when we were dating. There had been a gang fight in the parking lot, and when he saw one of the kids go down, on instinct he ran out to see if the person hit was okay. While my husband was bent over the person on the ground, someone came up behind him and hit him in the back of the head with a metal pipe. So the text he then sent me was totally jumbled since he had a concussion. He was okay, but he still has pain in that area 10+ years later. The scariest one I ever sent him was also when we were dating and I had been given a date drug at a bar. I sent him a very misspelled text that didn't tell him I was all right, just that I was roofied. He didn't know until hours later that my friends had got me home okay, and I was fine because I lost a few hours just I don't know what I was even doing. I think just laying on my bedroom floor, but I have no memory whatsoever of any time passing. But I literally sent him that text and then lost the next couple hours. Poor guy was freaking out, but I was studying abroad at the time, and there was nothing he could do. I felt so bad later that I sent him that and didn't add that I was okay. Number 9. My husband woke me up and said Tony's dead. My beloved brother, Anthony, Tony, was dead. After the usual phone calls and panic text messages and hours later, I lay back down in bed to cry and hopefully take a sedated nap. Shortly after I fell asleep, it happened again. He shook me awake with tears in his eyes and said, "Honey, I'm sorry, but Rob is dead too." Rob was a very close, lifelong good friend of mine. Technically also an ex-boyfriend, but we had been friends for 12+ years. He happened to die just a few hours before my brother died, but I didn't find out until after I found out about my brother. Their deaths were unrelated in the sense that they didn't know each other and didn't die together, but fentanyl killed them both. Fentanyl. Number 8. I discovered he was addicted to cocaine. It was completely out of the blue. I would have never found out if I hadn't stained my shirt and had to go home to change and walked in on him snorting a fat rail at 1:39 p.m. on a random Tuesday. I gave him an ultimatum: my support during rehab unconditionally, or we completely part ways if you want to continue snorting coke all day. He said, "The coke, I don't want to talk to you." Chose coke and we divorced, and I have no idea whether he is alive or dead. Frankly, the man I married never actually existed. I have such a bad picker I decided to just give up. Number 7. My girlfriend frequently talks in her sleep. We quite often have opposite sleep schedules due to the nature of my work, so she usually sleeps in the bed next to my desk. One night she rolled towards me, eyes still closed, and said, "Babe, tell the guy in the corner to stop staring at me." I have a habit of conversing with her when she has little sleep comments, so I replied back saying, "There's nobody in the corner, dumb," and then she almost instantly responded by saying, "He's hiding in the shadows." She'd had a few creepy comments before that, but she never really responds when I talk back, and when she does, it's usually gibberish. Probably the most chilling interaction we've ever had, and it's safe to say I kept looking over my shoulder for the rest of the night. Number 6. She was filling our water bottles before coming to bed, and I was just on my phone in bed. I heard her come up the stairs almost like she tripped on the last step, because she usually misses that last one. Just as I'm getting up to go see if she's all right, she comes flying through the bedroom door, closing it behind her. I never saw her scared like this, and I was confused until she said, "Something just followed me up the stairs." I nearly shit myself, that type of fear where tears spring to your eyes and your stomach knots. I'm not sure what I would have done if it was just the two of us alone in the house. There were others, but they were in their room and asleep. At first I thought it was the dog, but she confirmed it was very much not. There was nothing there. She claims it was a large black mass behind her that she could hear. We both had a bit of trouble going to sleep that night. Number 5. I've been in an accident. I've been that guy she happened to call me as I was being lifted into the ambulance with my head smashed after being hit by a car. I had regained consciousness only seconds earlier. Somehow I had the presence of mind to phrase it, "I'm okay, but I have to go to hospital because I've had an accident." Number 4. During our first marriage counseling session where we were asked our goals for this session, she said, "I don't want this to work." Edit. It did not work. That was the end of our marriage. At the time, it was the scariest moment of my life. Today, 3 years later, I can honestly say neither of us were happy and needed some help. Therapy works. Sometimes honesty hurts and revulsions are hard. Number 3. We need to talk when you get home. Folks, I spent the next 6 hours going over every possible thing I could have done wrong to warrant that response. We were in the middle of buying a house and planning our wedding, and I thought everything could possibly be crumbling. Turns out my darling wife, the love of my life, and my best friend missed the fucking memo of "we need to talk" means in a relationship and wanted to talk to me about carpeting for the house. That conversation happened over a dozen years ago at this point, and I still remind her from time to time about how she almost gave me a heart attack. To this day, she thinks it's hilarious. Number 2. My wife suffers from bipolar disorder. Before her first long hospitalization when it was diagnosed, and while she was going through her first severe manic episode with psychosis, she later told me that the voices in her head told her that I was Satan and she needed to kill me. And she told them no, that she knew better. So there's that. Your wife beat the voices through sheer will. Wild. She loves you. Number 1. My husband was in a very dark place a while ago. One night he was wasted and told me it was time for me to take his guns away from him. I never felt my stomach drop like it did when I heard him say that. And that's all the 20 best stories. If you like more of this, please hit the thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. You can also share your similar experience in the comment below. See you in the next video.